The AMPed EV podcast is sponsored by Autel Energy. Visit autelenergy.com for more information.
Hello and welcome back to the AMPed EV podcast. My name is David Sickles. I am the editor for The Buzz.
And I am Jason Morgan, content director for Fleet Equipment. It's good to be back.
It is. It is. We got purple.
Yeah, that purple. We had that other episode with purple, and now purple's our thing.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it last time.
Yeah.
Huge mistake.
Yeah.
This purple pops.
Yeah, sorry everyone. This is now the purple update episode. No, I have something for you.
Okay.
So something I've been thinking about, and happy to talk about it here. But I feel like we're at a point in electric vehicles, particularly in the commercial world, and not just electric vehicles, but zero emission vehicles, where reality is now here in a very electric trucks grew up and got a job, and now they're like paying a mortgage and like bills. They go to bed early. They're not going out on the weekends anymore. They're like full-fledged adult working equipment now.
Do we have to talk about this?
I think so. And I want to be clear. This is a good thing. I'm not looking to be a downer here.
Okay.
But we are going to talk about some challenges.
Okay.
Some actual challenges. But the fact of the matter that the industry is actively working on solutions, right? Because there's challenges in everything.
So where do we start? Range or infrastructure or cost or?
I think back to my time at ACT Expo. I know we did a walk around there. But Mathais Carlbaum, the CEO of Navistar, he put it in very real terms, let's say. Can I read you a quote? I don't know. I'm going to read you a quote anyways, but this is what stuck with me. And there's two things that stuck with me. So he said during his keynote speech, we have that. I've got the full video we can share too. But Mathais Carlbaum, President and CEO of Navistar, said, the U.S. has had a great improvement in clean energy usage since 2010, moving from 30% to 40% in 2020. But if you look forward to the 2022 prediction by the U.S. Energy Information Administration, it's that we will be short of 60%. So we moved 10% in 10 years, and then in the coming 30 years, we have to grow by 15%, 20%. Our growth is slowing down.
Yeah, okay, we're plateauing a bit.
Right, we are plateauing a little bit. Of course, he then points to just government assistance and some tailwinds there to help get through there. Clearly, Navistar is investing a lot. They have their international EMB electric vehicle. They're working on hydrogen with a couple partners, particularly GM, on that side of things. But there was just a lot of that kind of talk in very real terms. David Carson, the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Daimler Trucks North America, had a keynote, and one of his takes was that if you go to any truck stop, right, let's say we electrify truck stops, and 50 trucks plug in the charge, it'll take down any grid in the country.
Oh no.
Yeah, right. That is not something we want to happen. So it's these conversations were happening, but the idea that we're working towards solutions, the other kind of reality is that we talk a lot about solutions, you and I talk a lot about, that don't even exist yet. Right, we talk in very high terms about hydrogen and but it's not there yet. We're moving toward it.
Right.
We're moving toward it, right? So just kind of wanted to chat about the realities. Are you seeing any realities creeping in to the EV space?
I mean, all the time. Again, I don't like to talk about them because they can get a little depressing.
But reality is hard.
But that being said, I mean, it's something that you do have to face. You kind of have to face the music sometimes. And if you really want to come up with the correct solutions or a solution that's at least close to correct,
right?
You have to know what you're actually looking at. And we actually got today, as we're recording this
Well, I got
episode.
something for today. I don't know if we have the same thing.
Oh, no. Are you talking about the Mission Possible Partnership Report?
No, I've got something different.
Perfect.
I've got something different.
That's
I was
perfect.
posting this online and copying it into my notes at the same time.
Okay, this is fantastic.
Breaking news. All right, so you go.
So Mission Possible Partnership. They call themselves an alliance of climate leaders focused on supercharging efforts to decarbonize some of the world's highest emitting industries in the next 10 years.
All right.
So this group, they are being backed by NACFE with this report. And they have some ideas as far as getting infrastructure where it needs to be in order to bring our global temperature down 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2050.
Oh, bring it down.
Bring it down.
Oh, bring it down.
Bring it on
That's
down.
what I like to hear. Bring it down.
Yeah. So here are a couple of their notes within the report.
Go for it.
Just a couple of brief things. They believe that zero emissions trucks will achieve superior TCO between 2022 and 2033.
Okay.
They,
that's soon. That's
it's
soon.
not that far off. It's really not.
That's very soon.
Achieving zero emissions trucking is cheaper than continuing to burn fossil fuels, they say. Higher vehicle costs will be more than recouped through lower operating costs. Policy is a huge one. We've got to be aligned in our policy, especially here in the U.S. They are hoping that with the correct strategies, we could prevent a cumulative of between 6 and 13 gigatons of CO2e emissions. How much is that really? I have no concept of whatsoever. It sounds like a lot. Gigaton sounds like a lot. And finally, they are saying that operators need more public charging and hydrogen stations, and their biggest concern is having enough grid power for both charging and hydrogen production simultaneously.
Right. Well, that's good. Was that breaking news?
That was breaking news as we record this episode today on July 14th.
You've already read about it you probably read about it on the Buzz.
It's possible.
Well, I'm going to break some news then.
Okay.
That you will also have read about, but right now it's new. Breaking news. So Volvo Trucks announced that. Volvo Trucks North America itself and several of its groups, right? So we got Volvo Financial Services. They're the ones that fleets go through funding to pay for their electric trucks and all that good stuff. Volvo Technology of America, plus Shell Recharge Solutions. So this is, we saw this at ACT. This is Shell's EV charging arm. So it's actually kind of a separate from the Shell you would think of for oil.
And this, Shell is really big into electrification and decarbonization these days.
I just talked to the CEO and global head of Shell Tap Up in a different interview 30 minutes ago. So anyway, but that neither here nor there. But yes, decarbonization is a thing they're really focused on. Tech Equipment, which was a big supporter of the Volvo Lights project and servicing Volvo electric VNR electric trucks that they have on the road right now. So Tech Equipment, Affinity Truck Center, Western Truck Center, they are going to develop a publicly accessible medium and heavy duty electric vehicle charging network, basically a corridor in California for electric vehicle charging all the way down California there.
Really?
Central California, down in Southern California. Yes.
Okay.
The project will start this year. 5 stations anticipated to be online by the end of 2023. All a big deal. So they are getting an award from the California Energy Commission of $2 million under the Best Fit program, which is one of these programs that funds this stuff. So they're pulling together to do this. And again, I know we've talked about it before, but a reminder that Daimler Trucks North America, NextEra Energy Resources, BlackRock Renewable Power, they have $650 million invested or that they will invest in a California, Texas, and East Coast charging infrastructure plan that they're rolling out. So again, I know we talk about it. Yeah, right. No, there's stuff happening. It's happening right now. We just did it. Breaking news.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So what does that mean for the trucking corridor down the coast of California? What are they hoping to accomplish with that?
Well, they just want to be able to charge their trucks, quite frankly, in a real way that is available and accessible, right? Because let's face it, a lot of this, now I'm going to say this, but the majority of electric vehicle, especially in the commercial, is happening in California, but it is happening all over the world. There are Texas fleets. There are fleets up in Canada that we know of that are running electric vehicles and electric trucks. So it's happening all over. But California is its own. That's where a mass population of more and more EVs are heading. So they just want to be, again, infrastructure is the challenge. But again, it's being addressed with really cool solutions.
That's exciting to hear. It happening in California, obviously, as you said, California is one of the kind of meccas for electric vehicles in the States here. What is more exciting is seeing this kind of infrastructure project happening elsewhere, quite frankly. As you said as well, infrastructure is one of the biggest realities that we need to face and figure out solutions for. The researchers at McKinsey.com, they do a lot of market research, market data kinds of things, and they have this. I'm just going to read this word for word here.
Go for it.
They say, as the number of EVs on the road increases, annual demand for electricity to charge them would surge from 11 billion kilowatt hours now to 230 billion kilowatt hours in 2030. The demand estimate for 2030 represents approximately 5% of total electricity demand here in the United States. Projections indicate that nearly 30 million chargers would be needed to deliver so much electricity in that year. 30 million. Now, they do say that a lot of those chargers would be those that are in residential, in your garage or whatever that might be. But that being said, that is a enormous number that we are nowhere close to meeting right now.
Can I throw a decarbonization wrench in there? I don't even know if it's a wrench.
You may.
Because, that's it. We're talking about, that's electric vehicle and that's the grid. And look, in our segments in transportation on passenger and commercial vehicle, they're doing it, right? They're moving forward. I know the grid, that's not really our world or wheelhouse to talk about in terms of what's happening with the utilities. You've got some that are really good and progressive and moving down there, and you have some that are sticking to their tried and true business model. But, one of the other realities that's emerging now is this idea that on a larger view of decarbonization, so cutting down on emissions. Cummins, during one of the keynotes at ACT, had a really interesting chart that showed, look, if we just sit around and wait for the right solution, I'm going to wait till the infrastructure's in place. I'm going to wait. They equated it to compound interest, where if you wait and don't do anything today about your decarbonization, we're actually worse off than if you wait 10 years and then go all EV. The amount of emissions that you create in that time isn't really helping. So you got to do stuff now to cut down on emissions, still using ICE engines, right? Everyone's still running. I know we talk and get very excited about this, and it is gaining ground, but everyone is still operating internal combustion engines. So this idea that you have to find a solution to decarbonize, and then when you take another step, because I visited with the Cummins team not too long ago, here about a month or two ago, to kind of get an inside look at what their product development and how they're looking at a fuel agnostic. It's kind of funny. I'll have a video. I'll have to share it with you. But I went to Cummins and drove everything but a diesel engine, which is just funny.
That is funny. Yeah.
They're looking at fuel and agnostic, right? Gas, natural gas, hydrogen ICE engines, hydrogen fuel cells. Battery electric drives, so they're looking at all that. But it's the idea of, when you start talking about this, you get very caught up in trying to pick the winner. I want to pick the winner. I'm going to wait for hydrogen because hydrogen's going to be the winner, or I'm going to wait for EVs because EV is going to be the winner, or natural gas is going to be the winner. There's not going to be one winner. There's not one winner. The winner is whatever fuel source brings your decarbonizes, bring your emission loads down, and still works for your ROI so that your business makes money. That's the winner. Yeah. And so this idea that there's going to be a proliferation of many different kind of fuel types as we move toward that 2050 goal, even with that group of reducing, it's not going to be one solution. The winner is going to be whatever wins for you, not this overarching, I picked the winner, good for me, let's join the club.
We talk about on fleet equipment a lot. One of the golden rules kind of running a fleet or the trucking industry in general is it's all about your application. And everything is dependent on that application. And maybe an electric powertrain is correct for one application, and maybe hydrogen is correct for another application.
Right. Or maybe different decarbonization efforts, turning over more of your fleet for newer trucks that are more fuel efficient, right? Because when we talk about fuel efficiency, all the OEMs compare their last best spec to the new spec, but you're trading in a 5-year-old truck, not your best spec truck. So you're not saving 4 or 5%, you're saving much more on fuel efficiency. That counts as decarbonization. I teased the interview with Shell Tap Up that was a mobile fueling solution. So they're just bringing fuel to you so that you don't have to drive extra miles to go fill up.
Okay.
And it can help with. I know it's not fun to talk about, but fuel fraud, right? Because they're filling up. You know who's filling up. You have a relationship with them.
Okay.
It's not like one of your drivers has a fleet card that they're fueling up, and then there's another guy behind them that they just kind of go through. It happens. Sorry, happened again. Realities. Right? We're talking realities. Let's face it all together. But the idea that you need to do something now. It's not I'm going to wait and see who the winner is. You're not. No one's going to win if you do that.
Sure. Well, let me share one last kind of market study that I was looking at. Speaking of realities, and this is a hopeful reality, if you will. So this is from the U.S. Department of Energy. Excuse me. They just released their 2022 U.S. Energy and Employment Report. So this is not something that's going to reflect exactly. Electrification is doing this well, or fossil fuels is doing this well, but it is a very good indication of where people are spending their time and researching and trying to advance things.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
So in this report, this is mainly looking at between 2020 and 2021. We don't have 2022 numbers yet.
Right.
But they share that in the motor vehicle and components parts category of the energy sector, the sector employed just over 2.5 million people in 2021, an increase of 9.8% from 2020. That being said, the fuel sector, the fossil fuel jobs, had a decrease of a little over 29,000 jobs, or 3.1% from 2020 to 2021. Whether or not you think that's a good thing or not is up to you, but the point is that a lot of people are kind of moving themselves toward those kind of cleaner energy jobs and away from the fossil fuels. One other thing that I wanted to mention, those jobs in carbon reducing motor vehicle jobs grew a collective 25% in 2021, and hydrogen led the pack in terms of percentage of jobs added at 41.4% year over year. Not a ton of jobs overall, 4,160 they reported.
Right.
However, that bump, talking about 41%, that's significant.
Yeah, when you start considering the market sizes and the industry sizes and that kind of growth, percentages can be deceiving, but it does indicate a direction trend there.
Yes,
well, that's really cool.
For sure.
You know what? I know we're talking about realities, but I will say that I am amped about the reality of zero emission EVs going forward. And it's good that we're getting away from the hyperbole. I think there was a lot of buzz. About EVs before their launch. I think I guess 2020 and 2021 for sure, is especially on the truck side, as they rolled out, it was like okay, but to understand that they can do the job, they will do the job, and now they have to buy a house and support a family and grow up and become a mature technology. These are things we have to talk about, and it's cool to see the conversation heading that way. Oh yeah, absolutely. And if I can just mention that Cummins hydrogen kind of hybrid engine that you talk about during our ACT Expo episode, technology like that is incredibly exciting for me. It's something that I never would have really fathomed, and it's really fun to see things moving in that direction and people just trying different things. Right, yeah, and you got to keep in mind, Cummins engines powers a lot in the world. That, you think of giant tankers that are moving containers across the ocean. There's you know what I mean? It's they probably don't have anywhere to charge out there in the open ocean. They
Very
probably
few places.
need a solution.
Yes.
So those kind of things, and whether they work for trucking or work for cars, these are the things that are happening, where the money's going. So really interesting. Lot to talk about. Lot to be amped about. I am amped. I'm amped for this. Very good. Wonderful. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was fantastic. Thanks for stopping by once again. Always. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.